All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. It's Friday, February 2nd. Boy, it's hard to, it's Groundhog Day. Watch AMC channel today. You get to watch Groundhog Day all day on AMC channel. So it's February 2nd, 2024. Thank you for being with us today. Our agenda this morning, we'll start out with success stories. If anybody has any landings to let us know about, we'd love to hear about that. We'll then go to our 30-second introductions. We'll then hear from committee reports, the practice interview team, the interview success workshop, the career tip of the week, and then our main event, which today happens to be open forum. We'll do that at the top of the hour. For those, for those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please, well, we're going to do open forum today, so just unmute your mic if you want to talk today. For those on Facebook, if you have any questions or comments, please just put them into the comment field. We're monitoring that feed. We'll be sure to get those answers and questions answered for you. All right, please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior person landed a job. I saw a need, and in 2008, I created a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the DFW area. In 2012, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. If you see me in person, I always have copies with me. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team. You'll hear more about that in just a moment. Well, we'd like to start the meeting off with good news. Do we have any landings out there? Any successes people would like to share?
Good morning. It's Veronica.
Veronica.
I ended up landing within AT&T again. I'm dealing more with the network operations and logistics side of it. I actually started my new role yesterday, but it came right on time, and it was just one round of interviews, and within 48 hours, I was offered the job, and I did accept it. It's a lateral, but it's still in the line of the scope that I want to end my career with. So, I did accept it, and, it's everything I wanted to do and everything. And it's back with a group of that I've worked with over most of my years with AT&T. So they're elated to have me back. And they're even talking about giving me back my little title as UPS FedEx swoop girl. So very excited to be back with a good team of people, and leading some of the network infrastructure initiatives that they have going on right now in the space.
Well, congratulations. How did you hear about the job?
Actually, I was just, it actually circled back to me. I actually had applied for this job back in January of 2021. And I didn't get it. And then one day when I was in the office during the Christmas break, the gentleman that had interviewed me asked me would I be interested in moving over, because with all the return to the office and return to work, a lot of people didn't relocate to Dallas, and he had two people from his team that were not going to relocate, and he wanted to give me the opportunity. So he had me apply for it, and during the interview, he was like, I think you'll be a better fit for the other role that his director had. And so his director pinged me New Year's Eve and said, hey, I'm opening this job up, apply for it immediately. He came in town, interviewed me, and the next day I was told I had the job.
Well, congrats.
So it's kind of like I told some people that have reached out to me, let some of the dust settle, because we have a lot of people that said they were relocating to Dallas and they aren't. And so we're slowly trying to get them off payroll. There are going to be opportunities. It's just like I told somebody, just give them a chance to kind of get some of these people situated that are not relocating or following their work to Dallas or to Atlanta, and there will be opportunities. Like I said, I just had a lot of people during the Christmas break when I did go into the office, a lot of talent acquisition managers, just kind of sitting out in the plaza. They were like, hey, can I join you to watch, the SMU play on the big screen? And, they would, talk to me and tell me about opportunities. So I encourage people to definitely have that little 15-minute coffee with people because like I said, I got a lot of invitations during the Christmas break when I was going into the office. So that was a way that I got plugged into a lot of things too.
Well, Ron, congratulations. Thank you very much. Please, in the chat window, please let us know what your new position is and stuff so I can move you over to the alumni tab. Okay.
But like I told everybody, I'm still going to stay plugged in because, like I said, I know a lot of people that are still looking that, and everything. And like I said, there are opportunities. And there's something somebody sent me. If those are who are in supply chain, there's something happening at, I think, the Winston this next week that I got an invitation to, and I'll share that with everybody as well.
That would be great. All right. Thank you very, very much. All right. Congratulations, Veronica. Anybody else? Any other landings to announce today? Veronica makes our second landing for the year from this group. So we're looking for many, many more now. All right. Let's see here. We'll move on. All right. It's time for everybody to put their 30-second introductions in the chat window. For those on Zoom and Facebook, please put in your name, comma, phone, comma, email address, position you're looking for, 2 or 3 target companies. Important that you tell us what your target companies are, and then hit the return key. This way, all your information is right together. I will take all this information. I will email it out this afternoon to everybody so that everybody, I'll use this to update the roster. So as long as you give me your information, you'll get a copy of the roster this afternoon in the email. And then I will list everybody's target companies on that email. Look it over, see who you can help out there because, it's just a great way. Also, I would recommend you connecting with people who are on this group. A great way to expand your LinkedIn connections. So for everybody in the room, we'll allow you to do the 30-second introductions in person here in just a second. But for those online, we'll give you 30 seconds to start typing away. We have a race in this room here to go to see who gets to talk first. All right, if you're still typing away, please continue to type away. We'd love to know. We want to make sure you're with us to be able to update the roster and to be able to do that. All right. Okay, it's time now for those people here in the room to do their 30-second reductions. Let me turn the camera on in here so people out there can see who's here. And let's see here. We'll do this later. And push button up. And
you gotta
you're
get the green light, so you're on.
and you're ready to go.
Hi, my name's Grace Wolf. I am a recent graduate from Texas Tech. So I'm currently really new to the job search. So I'm currently looking for anything in sales or just a manager role. So I don't have any target companies right now, but yeah, my name's Grace Wolf.
Good morning. My name is Ann Lippert. I've been in technical sales, focusing on the water and wastewater industry for a number of years and looking for a new avenue to enter into. So I don't have target companies at this moment, but look forward to networking with the group to find some.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Archery. I'm a senior retail manager / merchandiser. I help company grow robust sales and drive profits and reduce costs at the same time. My target companies this week is HEB, Dallas College, and Advantage Solution. Anthony Autry.
Okay, I was just waiting until you adjusted that. So good morning, everybody. My name's William McLaughlin. I'm currently seeking a data analyst role. Excuse me. I help do the research necessary for companies that will ultimately help them improve their bottom line. And currently looking for context NTT data and core logic. Again, my name is William McLaughlin. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chandler Kim. I'm a technology, marketing, and partnering executive. I help companies win more and grow faster. I'm seeking a VP of marketing, VP of partnerships, or VP of strategic alliances role at a technology vendor or SaaS company, cybersecurity, or other member of the technology ecosystem. I am currently seeking contacts at Altice USA. I am also very open to the offensive coordinator role for the Dallas Cowboys. As anyone who knows me knows, I have very strong opinions about the play calling of the Dallas Cowboys. Chandler Kim.
See myself. There we are. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jama Ball. I'm a global operations leader with 20+ years experience in hospitality, healthcare, and SaaS platform companies. I thrive on creating order out of chaos. I'm currently looking for positions in an executive leadership role in product delivery or service implementation. I need contacts at Amadeus and Priceline. My name is Jama Ball.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Ansi. So I finished my master's degree and I had a break and I'm trying to re-enter into jobs. So looking for some kind of IT jobs like in testing or business analyst. But like I don't have a target company as for now. I'm just trying to figure it out. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Gina Patton. I am a relationship builder across company wide. I would love to find a veteran liaison position or employee trainer role. My target industries are defense, aviation, and home building. I would love to find something at Bell Helicopter, Raytheon, Sharif Munir, or Lockheed Martin. Gina Patton.
All right. Thank you, everybody here. Let's see here. We got a couple comments in the after Chandler said, I've got a ha funny, hire that man now, and a big smiley face. So yeah, so I think you got the job here.
I think I'm in the wrong kind of job.
Right. All right. If you know somebody who's unemployed, recently unemployed, been unemployed for a while, please let them know about Career DFW and Career USA, 2 totally free websites. They do not collect any personal information there. They are just there to help you with your job search. One of the things you'll find on the careerdfw.org website is a bunch of calendars. And on those calendars, the job fairs are listed, special workshops in gold, the job fairs are in pink, the workshops, the organizations, the groups that are meeting in person are in blue, the ones that are in purple of webinars that are happening. So if you know of something that needs to be updated, changed, if you know about a job fair, you know about something that's happening, please let us know. If it's not on the calendar, please let me know so I can share it with everybody else who checks out the website. All right, it's time to hear about the practice interview team. Chandler.
There's an old saying that's practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you are interested in practicing your interview skills, the practice interview team is a great free opportunity to practice your interviewing, and then most importantly, get some feedback for you to consider on ways you may want to improve the way that you interview. You would submit a actual job description that either you are interested in or perhaps have already applied to the email dallaspitcrew@gmail.com. They'll get you on the schedule. You'll go through an actual practice interview and then get feedback afterwards. It's a great opportunity to learn more, sharpen your skills, and also increase your confidence. So highly recommend Dallas Pit Crew. It is available both on site here in Plano, as well as Zoom for if you are outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a great free resource and one that many of us have already taken advantage of and highly recommend. Dallas Pit Crew.
Thank you very much. And so the Dallas Pit Crew is meeting in person on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays of the month. On the fourth Wednesday of the month, they will be online only. For those of you living outside the DFW area, you're going to get a different email on Wednesday that instead of talking about the practice interview team, it will list the workshops that have been put on, the 13-part workshop. Last week, I put out a thing about lesson 1. Next week, we'll do lesson 2. So, we'll try to keep everybody who's outside the DFW involved about interviewing on Wednesday. All right, it's time to hear about the Interview Success Workshop. Good morning, Walt.
Well, good morning. I'm going to support Anthony this morning since I'm standing behind him. So what is the practice that I try to help people gaining skills for confidence with an interview? Well, first of all, I heartily recommend the Pit Crew. It is a panel interview. It is a mock interview, but the Interview Success Workshop, which is free, does not do that. It's a learning interview. And when I screwed up an interview 23 years ago, I did a deep dive into saying, just what is it? So using my background as a hiring manager and information that I could look at, I said, companies are buying 3 things from us: who we are, what we do, and how we can help. So I'm going to combine my personality, my characteristics, the work habits that I have, all fits into the culture with what I do, which is the experience that I have, the skills, the hard knowledge that I have, and combine those to say, I can provide this kind of value to you. So people are not just hiring us to do something, they're hiring us to achieve something. So how do we sell that in an interview? Because the interview is a selling situation. Very few people are in a selling mindset when they are looking at interviewing. They're in a responding mindset. Well, of course we have to respond, but are we selling? And are we selling those 3 things? And so that's what it focuses on. There's 12 basic categories of questions. It's very choppy. It's not smooth at all, but we want to figure out, well, what can we sell and how can we approach this? Plus, how can we differentiate ourselves from other candidates? Very positive way of being different so that we stand out. We're memorable so that the interviewers will say, oh, it was just a good interview all around. So how can we do that? So it's fundamentals. I call it learning without squirming. Just look at that QR code if you want to send a note to me for getting started for registration. Also, you can see me on LinkedIn, the About section gives all the information about the workshop. I'm going to need some help today. I need someone to help me fill in the last word of this poem. So everybody get ready. You will, if you're the one that guesses it and you guess it correctly, you will have a prize. Does interviewing create those fears with our responses later turning into tears? Well, remove heartburn, come practice and learn. When the job celebrating with beers. Wrong, the word was donuts.
All right. Thank you very much, Walt. Yeah, Walt practiced that on me. So thankfully somebody else answered today. All right. It's time to hear about the career tip of the week. We have a brand new career tip of the week on the Career FW and CareerUSA.org websites. We've been doing that now since 2009. Check them out every week. It's, take a look at it on new tip pops up every Sunday. People say, hey, it's like a V8 moment. Like, wow, I didn't think about doing that little simple thing. So today, Rosanna's with us. It's this week's tip of the week. Good morning, Rosanna.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. All right. Well, this week's tip of the week is dated January 28th of 2024, and it's interview tips, 10 ways to improve interview performance. Do you know how to make your case to an interviewer? Follow these 10 interview tips to boost your chances of landing the job. And this article is by Carol Martin. So the day has come. You found an awesome job on Monster, because Carol's from Monster. You've applied, and you got a call from a real live human being who wants to meet with you. Well, congrats, but your work has only just begun. Right about now, you need some interview tips. Lucky for you, we've got a few good ones. Even the smartest and most qualified job seekers need to prepare for their job interview. Why? Interview skills are learned, and there are no second chances to make a great first impression. These 10 interview tips will help teach you how to answer interview questions and convince the hiring manager that you are the one for the job. So first, you want to practice good nonverbal communication. It's about demonstrating confidence, standing straight, making eye contact, and connecting with a firm handshake. That first nonverbal impression can be a great beginning or a quick ending to your interview. Next, you want to dress for the job or the company. Today's casual dress codes do not give you permission to dress as they do when you interview. It is important it is important to know what to wear to an interview and to be well groomed. Whether you wear a suit or something less formal depends on the company culture and the position that you're seeking. If possible, call to find out about the company dress code before you interview. Next, you want to listen. One of the most crucial interview tips, listen. From the very beginning of the interview, your interviewer is giving you information, either directly or indirectly. If you are not hearing it, you are missing a major opportunity. Good communication skills includes listening and letting the person know you heard what they said. Observe your interviewer and match that style and pace. Next, you don't want to talk too much. Telling the interviewer more than he needs to know could be a fatal mistake. When you have not prepared ahead of time, you may ramble when you're answering your interview questions, sometimes talking yourself right out of the job. Prepare for the interview by reading through the job posting, matching your skills with the position's requirements, and relating only that information. Next, don't be too familiar. The interview is a professional meeting to talk business. This is not about making a new friend. Your level of familiarity should mimic the interviewer's demeanor. It's important to bring energy and enthusiasm to the interview and to ask questions, but do not overstep your place as a candidate looking for a job. Next, use appropriate language. It's a given that you should use professional language during the interview. Be aware of any appropriate slang words or references to age, race, religion, politics, or sexual orientation. These topics could send you out the door very quickly. Next, you want to don't be cocky. Attitude plays a key role in your interview success. There's a fine balance between confidence, professionalism, and modesty. Even if you're putting on performance to demonstrate your ability, overconfidence is as bad, if not worse, as being too reserved. All the interview tips in the world won't save you if you come off as unpleasant to work with. Next, you want to take care to answer the questions. When interviewers ask for an example of a time when you did something, they're asking behavioral interview questions, which are designed to elicit a sample of your past behavior. If you fail to relate a specific example that you not only don't answer the question, but you also miss an opportunity to prove your ability and talk about your skills. Next, you want to ask questions. When asked if they have any questions, most candidates answer, no. Well, that's the wrong answer. Part of knowing how to interview is being ready to ask questions that demonstrate an interest in what's going on at the company. Asking questions also gives you the opportunity to find out if this is the right place for you. The best questions come from listening to what you're asking during the interview and asking for additional information. Don't appear desperate. When you interview, With the please, please hire me approach, you appear desperate and less confident. Reflect the 3 C's during the interview: cool, calm, and confident. And a bonus tip, work on your answers. You know you can do the job. Make sure the interviewer believes you can. One way to do this is by preparing a well thought out answer to questions they're most likely going to ask. Need some help with that? Make a free profile on Monster, and as a member, you'll get interview tips, career advice, and job search insights sent directly to your inbox so that you can come across as a strong, viable candidate. And from icebreakers such as tell me about yourself to the nitty gritty, what's your biggest weakness, Monster's expert advice can help you craft answers that highlight your skills and eagerness to get the job. This was a fantastic article and reminder. And so again, this is this week's tip of the week dated January 28th, 2024, and it's interview tips, 10 ways to improve your interview performance. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
Rosanna, thank you very, very much. Great information. Just remember your LinkedIn profile, your resume, they're not going to get you a job. All they do is they get you a phone call. That's why we really push that you've got to practice your interviewing skills. You've got to come to the pit crew. You've got to practice those things. You've got to be prepared. So when they do call you, that you're able to answer the question. All right, today for lunch, we're going to go to Mama's Pizza, 1145. Come join us, 2130 West Parker Road. It's on Parker, about a half block west from Custer. They've got a pizza buffet, pasta bar, salad, big salad bar, and of course, everybody's favorite, the hot cinnamon rolls. Just a little disclaimer, I just do this once a month. CareerDFW.org and the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group are 2 different organizations. CareerDFW.org is a website, is a 501c3 that I started back in 2008 to help the unemployed, both here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and around the United States. The North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group are a great bunch of people who get together on Friday mornings here in Plano. The biggest difference is, that there are 2 different organizations. The common thread is that I happen to lead both. You're welcome to overthrow me here at the North Dallas group if you want to take over this meeting anytime you want, but you're not going to get Career DFW out of my hands. All right, in coming up, our main event today is we'll be open forum. We'll talk about whatever questions you've got about your job search, and everybody here can offer their opinions and suggestions. But I want to mention the upcoming sessions we have coming up. Next Friday, Patty will be with us to talk about Crystal Knows. We were going to do this a few weeks ago, but the church had no internet. So we should be good to go next Friday. This is a really fascinating program. It interacts with LinkedIn. And so Patty will be with us next Friday to tell us all about Crystal Knows. It's a really good program. Patty's been using it for a long time. Just try to tell you who it is you're going to be interviewing with. And then on the 16th, Matt Keelan, who's a member of this group, will be sharing job search tips. It's going to be a practical do things. So he wants everybody here to please bring your laptop. We'll set up tables so that you can have room to put your laptops on. I guess I need to bring some extension cords and power cords, but make sure your computer's charged up, ready to go for next week or in 2 weeks, and bring your cell phone. So there'll be some bunch of job search tips that he recommends doing in 2 weeks. All right, we're going to do our main event. It's open forum. We'll talk about whatever it is you'd like to talk about. We would love for everybody to turn on their cameras so we can see you. And let me turn this off. Let me switch to the gallery view so we can see everybody out there. Give me a second. Put that up there. So you are welcome just to sort of jump in. Anybody have a question, please? Maybe want to get us started here.
I have a question. I'll get everybody started. So has anyone run into doing case study interviews? And how much have you had to prepare for those? And yeah, what have you put into them?
Case studies, anybody had to do those?
Or is it just me?
I've heard in the past people having to do it. I think what you've got to be careful is you're not, you want to give them enough information to tell them what you know, but you don't want to sell the ship. I mean, you don't want to give it away. You don't want to give it all away for free. Hire me and I'll be glad to give you the answers, but here are the things I would look at. Here are the things that may be, possible to do, but I'm not going to give you solutions unless you want to hire me. And, I always think it's probably a really fine line. I've never had to do it personally, but I've heard people talk about this in the past. Anybody here comments had to do it? Do case studies? Remember, in here, if you're going to talk, you got to have the mic in your hand. Okay. So anybody else out there have to do any case studies? No.
Wow. I guess it's just me. I've been through a few of them already.
If you're more than welcome to put an email back out to the group, because anybody can email our group out. If you're part of our group, email the group. So, has anybody done case studies? I'd love to talk with you. And what roles are you applying for? Somebody is asking here.
They're account director roles.
Account director roles. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
All right.
Give them a star story, Patty.
All right. What else can we answer for somebody then? Oh, Tyler, let's see here. How do you recommend preparing for informational interviews? How do you recommend doing that? Who's done interviews? Who's done information interviews? Tell us how you prepare for one. Go ahead, Patty.
Well, what I've done is, you look up that person's, information on LinkedIn, but you have to know why you want to get information out of them or what you want to have out of them. So is the informational interview already with a person at a company you've targeted and you want to learn more about the company culture and so forth? And if that's the case, you're not supposed to be asking them for a job. You're supposed to be finding out more about the company and more about the culture and so forth. So that's what I've done with informational interviews. And with that, I've had those people become people who would refer me for jobs internally. So.
Any other comments about informational interviewing? Yeah. Hold on. Passing the mic around here.
So this is Jama. I would agree with Patty, but part of that, have an end game for that informational interview, which is what she was talking about. Set a time and be respectful of that time. I've done some informational interviews, and if it's really good, I've said 15 minutes, and at the 14.5 minute mark, I'll pause and say, Chandler, this has gotten really great. I promise you only 15 minutes of your time. Do you still have time, or can we get some additional time on the calendar to do that? Generally, if the conversation goes well, they'll give me more time to get more interviews, but definitely be respectful of the person's time. And if you are doing an informational interview, typically you've been introduced to that person. So make sure whoever introduced you has a good introduction for you. So the person that you're interviewing with has an idea of who you are as well.
Any other comments about informational interviewing? Patty said, the key is you're trying to get information. You're not asking for a job. I take it one step further. You're asking for information and contacts at the end. Who else do you recommend I talk to? Can I use your name when I call that person, when I reach out to that person? So I know the first job, well, I had a job. I was living in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was trying to find a job up in Rochester, New York. And it was my 7th degree connection. So the first person gave me names, the second gave me the third, to the fourth, to the fifth, and I had to try. I had back then it was all just on paper, but I found it was my 7th degree connection that got me to this job lead that I got hired for. So it's just real important. You're looking for advice and contacts. If you use those kind of words, I think it really helps. And also, I think it's very, very important. I know Walt, I'm probably taking Walt's words out of his mouth here, is that be sure to let the person know who gave you the name. If you got a name from somebody, be sure to reach back out to the other person going, just want to let you know I had a conversation with so-and-so. We went really, really well. Thank you for the introduction. So, you know, don't forget about the people that you've already talked to. Be sure to follow up and let them know how that went with whoever you're leading, whoever you're talking to. Anybody else or interview suggestions?
I'll add one more thing. I second everything that was just stated by the various people. One of the nice things that we can do is we start out with them, not us. Okay, it's about them. And so something like, instead of just saying, well, Jeff told me to call you, and that's why I'm calling you. That's kind of on the very low end of an introduction, right? But said, you know, Jeff gave me some great information, and I see that you are very well experienced or have history in and have knowledge about this area. And I'm seeking some advice from you so that it could help me in my career search, my job career, you know, or something like that. My question to you is, how many people ask you for advice? Almost no one really say that. And how does it make you feel when somebody does ask you for advice? You say, you think what I'm about to tell you is important? That's to me. So it makes them feel good. So there's a key word in there about advice, about the topic that you're looking for. And I definitely tell you, I have sent out many types of communications. I spent about 2 hours. I went through everybody on LinkedIn, first degree, second degree connections. And since I asked for people to send me notes in their connection request, I can go back and look and see, this is how we met. This is, what I know about that person, so that I can include that. And here's how I met you. Here's how I met him. Here's what, et cetera. I gave all that. Sent that out, and I got an email back and said, thank you. And I never heard another word. And so that's not very good to do that. So be sure and follow up with your contacts.
Pamela, you had a good addition. I'll let you tell everybody what it is instead of me reading it. Pamela. All right, she's not unmuting her mic. All right, Pamela said, don't forget to follow up with a thank you note. Okay, very, very important. Send that thank you note. And thank you notes can be in emails nowadays. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to get an address from some people. And well, yeah, it's just very difficult. All right, any other comments about informational interviewing? There's a great 4-page handout that Dennis O'Hagan has, 5-page handout actually, the late Dennis O'Hagan has about information interviewing. That document is located on the careerusa.org website under videos and handouts. If you go to that page and scroll down, you'll see a thing about informational interviewing. It's a great handout. It's how to make that first phone call. What happens when they tell you no, how you can sort of turn that no into a yes. And then also be prepared with interview questions, and don't ask somebody what keeps you up at night. That is so out of, come up with something a little bit better. Show them that you've done a little research on the company. Hey, I hear your company does this. What's the culture like here? But don't ask the what keeps you up at night question. Okay.
A newborn baby.
Yeah, you never ever know. All right, anything else about interviewing? Patty put on here. Patty, you can just say it. You don't have to type everything in. Go ahead.
Well, I just said to make sure you read the company's posts on what they've said are their successes, so you really know something about what are they proud about, what are they doing, and so it makes you a lot more knowledgeable when you have to go in and talk to that person for the informational interview, as well as when you interview, because they will ask you about the company and what you know and how long they've been in business, how many employees they have, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, do your research. Do your research. Okay, anybody else? Informational interviewing? Yeah. Yeah, no, I've looked through. We're good. All right, what else can we talk about? Another question. Here we go.
So my question is what are the best practices to keep your name in front of a hiring manager with whom you've already interviewed? So they're continuing to interview other candidates. Time is going by. There's certainly news related things, there's research related things that you can find, but I'm trying to find something short that I can send to the hiring manager to remind, in this case, her about me. And so she doesn't forget about me, and hopefully they'll continue to think about me and call me for the next step. So are there any other tricks or topics that people have found to be very successful?
Suggestions in here, out there. Not a very talkative crowd this, okay? We're gonna stay here and we're gonna get something out of everybody, okay?
Well, I would say for me, I mean, you kind of have to follow the hiring manager's lead. I mean, if they are interviewing other people and they say, you know, follow up with the HR person to do that, you don't want to appear overzealous. But at the same time, you know, obviously you would send a thank you note after the interview that you're looking forward to the next steps and that you're going to keep in contact. You know, I think it really depends on the hiring manager and what they had said as far as how much contact they want to have with you. So
Anybody else? Questions, suggestions?
Well, this is Walton, and it may not be the hiring manager, or it might be the hiring manager, but in an interview, at the end of the interview, everybody talks about next steps. Well, I think there's 5 parts to the next steps part. I'll discuss it all in the workshop, but one of them is, who do I call if I have any questions? Who do I contact if I have any questions? Another one is, when should I expect to hear back from you? And I'll say, and who will I hear back from? And so there's something that says, okay, and if I don't hear from you by this date, may I call you on this date? People keep asking, I don't know when to contact them. And I say, well, why don't we ask? Why don't we ask when it is? And we're still on their agenda and doing it their way. Then these questions, you could periodically say, I have another question, you know, and so you can send a question more than one time over time to that individual, that person, just stay in contact. So those are 2 things that I think that might help us be a little bit more successful. If they have agreed that we can contact them, there's a better chance of us getting through rather than just leaving a voice message.
You know, I don't remember if it was Terry Sullivan, or I'm sure it was at a session, a career DFW session. So your question was, how do I keep my name in front of whoever I'm interviewing with? But to tag them on LinkedIn, social media, things that you're doing, that you've hopefully developed some kind of commonality during the interview or conversation, but to tag them on LinkedIn, so you'll be up on their feed. And someone else said, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I don't remember how to do it, right? Is it you hashtag career DFW or something, and it shows up in their feed. So if you want to be top of mind and visible, that'll help promote your name in front of them. I'm looking at everybody. Didn't we see this in some session?
So if you're posting something once a week, twice a week, whatever, tag the person that you want to read. So if somebody tags my name, it pops up in my feed.
Right.
To make, you know, it's not a mystery. It will automatically pop up there and I'll see, oh, so-and-so tagged me. Oh, okay. Interesting article. Oh, okay. Your name's popping back up in front.
And then click on that bell, that notifications bell on LinkedIn, so that when they post, if they're active, you'll be able to comment on their information. Right. So that keeps you top of mind from a social media perspective.
Right. Dion, can you open your mic and ask your question or give us your suggestion?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Yeah, what I was saying was that what I've done in the past was, when I get an email for an interview with time slots, I normally take the very first time slot. So therefore I can make that impression, and every interview after that is based off of me being the first one on how they're gonna go forward with everybody else. And then like someone mentioned before was the thank you note afterwards.
Thank you. What do you all think about that? I've heard some people say take the first, some people say take the last one because they want to be the last person they remember. Some people will take an interview on Tuesday or Wednesday because those are better days than Monday or Fridays, if it's depending on time slots. So what have you all done out there?
Well, for me, Jeff, I actually am in a second round interview and they asked me for my availability next week, and I gave them like from Monday noon till Thursday or whatever, and they took my very first time slot, which I wasn't expecting, which means I must be high on their list. Hence, that's a good sign. So, onward and upward, right?
Just don't get hired before next Friday. Okay.
I could be.
Your old presentation.
Well, I guess to ask on that, I guess I know I'm going to get a lot of different answers on this, but how many rounds of interviews is too many? I may get a lot of different answers on this one, but
I think it depends on the level of the position as well. Sometimes it does if it's a smaller company versus a bigger company, and or what other kind of impact you're going to have on their business, and they want to have you interview with their managers and who you're working with. I think it can really make a difference. With a smaller company, they might do one and done. So it really just depends on how quickly they want to get you on the payroll. There's a big pool of really great candidates out there right now, even though the jobs report came out and it was fairly positive. But I know people who are in the current positions that are still looking, so they kind of have a leg up on anybody else who's unemployed. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on what I've experienced based on the different size companies I've been interviewing with and what I've interviewed with in the past.
But if y'all heard Veronica this morning say she had one interview, got the job, but I think she'd already built that relationship up because she interviewed with the person a few months earlier, didn't get the job, but just kept her name, in there. And that's why one of the things I always recommend is even if you don't get the job and you get turned down, follow up with the person after 60 days, 75 days, because maybe they didn't like the person they hired. Maybe they maybe the person talked a good talk and couldn't actually do the job. And if they liked you and you were a finalist before, I've heard of people both in this group who have gotten a job that way by just following up. They call you back in for an interview, they blow out the other person, and you're in. So, a no's not a no until, at least 6 months later. And even then, you follow up because you never know what other opportunities.
Jeff, how would that conversation go?
How would
follow-up go?
I would just follow up by saying, Walt, I really enjoyed meeting you. I really, I was excited about the role at the company. I'm sorry that one didn't work out. I am still in job search. I would still like to have an opportunity with your company.
Contacts.
And, I'd love if you have anything open at this point, I'd love to have an opportunity to talk with you again.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, you're not saying I want the old job, but you're just saying I'm still in job search. It's been 60 days. I really enjoyed meeting you. I'd love to have an opportunity. I'd still love to come work for the company and see how I can help you all succeed.
This is Walt. I think there's a couple of pieces of information we ought to obtain that's going to help us make decisions on these various questions that you're asking. And one is, what's the process for getting on board? When is the decision date? When is the projected start date? Who makes the hiring decision? How many interviews will I have? Who will they be with? So if I know that they're going to try to make a decision next week, as opposed to 3 months from now, then that tells me, okay, here's kind of the process I'm going. And we can always pretty much predict that they won't make their deadlines, because hiring is at the bottom of the to-do list. Everything else interferes in the tyranny of the urgent takes place with that. But if we know that information and we know who to contact for questions when we get like to the end of the interview, but finding out that process gives us an idea of how often we can contact and who it is and when it is. And then we'll find out the number of interviews and say, well, who are the people? At least what are their roles that I'll be interviewing with? And if it's going to take a long time, one person after 11 interviews over 2 months said, I'm not going to work here. It takes you too long to make a decision. And so there was a culture thing there for that. And other ones can be short, other ones can be long, but always understand if that process is like that. So now I kind of know when to contact them, I know what's going on, I know who it is, all that sort of thing. And we deserve to know that information, up front, so that when we have that, that can help me make a decision.
Yeah, I know we really didn't answer William's question. How many interviews is too many?
Like how many rounds? Like what? Like I'm talking about like how many rounds? Like is is say like 7 or 8 rounds? Is that unacceptable in any situation? Like would people say?
Some companies can make decisions, some can't. I think that probably 3 or 4 is normal. I would say the first one's with HR, the second one would maybe the hiring manager, the third one maybe would be other team members. And then the fourth one's with the boss of the person who's doing the hiring, just to make sure you can walk and talk and that I like you. And that hopefully is about it.
Or possibly the CEO or CTO.
Yeah, CEO.
Like that.
Right.
Or just one of the C-level executives.
Right. But yeah, I mean, Dennis O'Hagan tells a story that he got interviewed by some company. It was like 14, 15 times, but he just kept going because it was sort of fun. He just wanted to see what was going to happen. And when they offered him the job, he said no, because you can't make a decision. It's been 14, 15 interviews.
Right.
Why would I want to work for you all?
Yeah, even if you're interviewing, I'd say for like something.
Wait, can't talk without the mic.
He wasn't walking toward me. It's even some that are like, pretty high up, like some like senior director, and even like sometimes even I've heard of people interviewing for like, C-level executive positions that, I get some of that. You'd want to have a lot of rounds of interviews. Like,
right.
Sure. I mean, I get that. I get that, but that was just, trying to get like, even for super high level positions like that, like, I'm just trying to get like, what would be even unacceptable for those, like what would be an unacceptable number of rounds, like,
I think at some point you get fed up and you go, I'm done. This isn't worth it anymore.
Sure, like
keep on going.
Yeah, like I just was thinking, is 10 rounds unacceptable in any situation? That's kind of what I was just trying to get at.
You had to fly to Atlanta on their own dime to sell the owner why you should buy this pair of glasses.
Oh, wow.
She went, she got the job, she did it, she got the job, but that was like the final interview. She'd already been through a couple of rounds of interview locally. But, do you want to how much do you want to invest in this and how much do you want to do? There's no right, every company does things differently. I mean, the American Heart Association, they will, when you're interviewing with the team, it's all individual interviews. It's not a group interview. Some people will have you interview. I remember I had an interview once and I had 6 people in front of me. And, and you're trying to, deal with, 6 different answers, or 6 different people, which is a lot difficult. So every company does. But I think what Walt says is when you get that initial phone call, you need to ask, what's the interview process like? How long does it typically take? How many interviews do they usually want to fill this kind of job? It's okay to ask those questions.
Yeah, I've asked that in the hiring manager with the HR person. And so I know how many rounds I'm going to have with this one I'm interviewing for. I know what to expect. I know who's next if I make it past the next. These are important questions to ask. I usually have at least 15 questions ready to ask all of them after the interview. So I'm prepared. I being from like a sales environment, you want to know, when do you need to call them back? Oh, so if I don't hear from you by X date, shall I follow up with you on X date? Like, I make sure I know all of that. So then they actually know that I'm very organized and prepared and that they'll know they're going to hear from me. So it really shows that you're being very proactive about this, because as I'll show you, some personalities don't wait for them to write back to you. You need to write back to them. You need to show your interest in that job. So keep the ball rolling and do it, so know what you need to do.
Ray, I'll let you give your comments. I know you typed them in there, but I'll let you read them. I'll let you say.
No problem. So to me, on the question of how many, it boils down to your personal limit. Everyone's a little different. I've got one company that I'm interviewing with, and what we thought was going to be, I had an interview yesterday, what we thought was going to be the last one. At the end of that interview, she was like, well, we've got more. And so both me and the recruiter are going, Loki, what's next? And she couldn't even tell me at that point. So they're kind of doing it, I don't know, ad hoc. It's a bit irritating, but I like the company, so I'm dealing with it. There's another company that was back in October. They sent my resume. There has been zero reaction at this point, zero follow-up. The lady calls me every week and is like, we're trying. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm so uninvested from this process that if they do come back to the interview, I'm probably going to, say no, just because it's kind of like, American Heart, I think you said, I interviewed with them and they brought in a panel of 10 people and it was an hour-long interview and it was almost impossible to get everyone into that. They were trying to allow everyone to ask questions, including me. I don't know. I think they went way overboard because it was a Zoom interview and it was just crazy. But yeah, everyone's kind of different in how they operate, and it's unfortunate. I do like Patty's comments. Yeah, I totally wholeheartedly agree with her process. Come with questions that should be obvious. Come with the, request timelines and follow-ups. Just don't, when you say next step, say, okay, so I should follow up at X point, because it kind of puts them on the spot. Otherwise, you just never know.
Patty, do you have a little cheat sheet that sort of tells you those questions that you're asking, to make sure who am I meeting with? What's the next step? How many is the enterprise? Do you have something that sort of has all those little questions, or is it just something you've got in your mind?
Well, it's something that I have in my mind, but I'm happy to put something together if that's going to help some people. And then my questions that I ask for interviews, I've gotten from many different sources, and some of them are really great questions. And I think some people have asked me, do I ask the same question of one interviewer to the next? And I think it depends. I think sometimes I do, because I want to see if I'm consistently getting the same answer, or if they're giving me different answers, and I'm like, interesting. So
sorry.
so that's all I have, but yeah, I can put something together if you'd like.
Thank you, Patty. Mark,
Patty?
go ahead. Oh,
And Patty, just like, are all those questions that you ask in the beginning, or are they spread out through the interview?
I take the lead from the interviewer. So if they tell me I want to ask you a series of questions, I will leave you with questions to ask at the end of the conversation. Then that's when I do it. If they allow me to do it throughout, then I will add it throughout. I just don't assume anything and have them take the lead from how they set the agenda and set the tone. For my last 2 interviews, it's been at the end of the interview where I ask these questions. Some of my questions they answer throughout the interview. So that's why I have at least, 15 questions. I don't just leave it with 1 or 2. I have several to choose from, just to make sure that, that I have a variety.
well, what I'm sort of looking for, Patty, if you wouldn't mind, I'm not worried about the questions you asked during the interview. What do you ask the first person that calls you? What's the process like? How long is it going to take? Who am I going to be meeting with? Those are the kind of questions I would like if somebody would put that in a document, and we'll pass it out to everybody, and you all can add more comments to it. I think it'd be a great little cheat sheet for when somebody calls you up, and if you're going for an interview, you can ask, so tell me about the process, and, you can get more detail. Some good questions to think about.
And you can take the workshop because all that's included.
Okay. I've never taken the workshop. Mark, you
Oh, okay, then he has all the answers.
Paul's got him. He's not sharing it with me unless you take the workshop. Go ahead, Mark. I know you unmuted your mic.
So yeah, so there was a tip of the week a few weeks ago that talked about multiple interviews and the causes. It's actually a pretty good read. I'm going after a VP job, vice president job. So there's a lot of pressure and a lot of interviews, and something that I'm seeing right now, which I didn't see 5 years ago, is the companies asking to take kind of exams, tests. Something called Caliper had a couple of those from a couple of different companies, and some personality tests that I had to take, which I never saw before. It's normally a like 2 to 3 hour thing. I'm very specific though when I get to the interview and wrapping up the end of the interview to really understand how long this takes. Because I think I've not reached the point yet where I'm ready to give up on any application I got in there. And it will take a lot for me to get to that place. But I can tell you I had a couple where I had 13 people in the room with me, plus notes from people that weren't there, that turned into the same question getting asked over and over again. And that wasn't a very pleasant experience. But anyway, that's my viewpoint on it. I think if you ask it up front and they set the expectation and understand theirs, then I think it helps make it go smoother.
Yeah, that's rough, Mark. I think what they're probably looking for to see if you're going to change your answer.
Yeah,
See if you give a different answer every time.
Yeah, and what they don't know about me, because they don't know me, is it'll be the same answer to the same question every time. I'm very consistent.
Right. Well, that's good.
So here's the question. This is Walt again. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the absolute best, how would you describe the effectiveness of a hiring process in the company?
Who are you asking the question of?
How would you rate the hiring process? How would you rate the hiring
A 1.
today? Where 10 is absolute.
Well, I mean, it's going to be naturally uncomfortable, right? You've been interrogated. The bottom line is you've been interrogated. You've been interviewed. So, there's an agenda there that the consequence of, right? You either get the job or you don't. And I think that puts you under more pressure. So it isn't I don't think anybody, I don't want to be disrespectful, but anybody in the right mind would not be rating around a 10. That's kind of, unless you like pain. But the ones I've gone through, it's probably a 2 or a 3 right now.
Well, the reason I asked that question is because if this is a target company, if this is our dream job, we'll do whatever they ask, right? And we'll go through it. So you look at those parameters, but we can't let the process stop us from getting a job.
No, I agree. But if you got some visibility on what it's going to look like, it helps you navigate it more efficiently.
The questions that you bring to the interview, and if you ask them either beginning, during, or after, is it appropriate to take notes and be looking down at a piece of paper and writing things down as, okay.
Yeah.
I would also say you can let them know. I've had interviewers say, if I look away, it's not that I'm multitasking, I'm taking notes. And so they're doing it too. Our good ones will, let me put it that way. And you can say that also. Just say, hey, if I look away, it's not, I'm just taking notes.
Yeah, I can tell you when I've interviewed people for jobs that I want to take on, if they're not taking notes, it's kind of a disqualifier, because it's a sign of interest and how meticulous they are about capturing information and retaining it. The biggest no-no that I've seen is somebody bringing a laptop in and opening the laptop in front of me and starting typing was kind of probably not the best idea. But
Okay. I,
And-
I can see myself, the anxiety of the interview, not remembering the answer to those questions which is why. And now I'm seeing like the iPads where you can, take notes right on there with your stylus. Is that appropriate these days? Okay.
I
I'm
would
new
think
at
that's
this.
okay. You just open up a laptop,
Right.
tablets like writing on a tablet of paper. One,
If it's online, they won't know how you're taking them.
right.
Sure.
If it's a tech job and you're showing that you're using technology, that could be a positive.
Right.
Well, I think I'd frame it as if you're going to give them a presentation. So if you put together if it's a marketing media type role and you put together a PowerPoint to show them your portfolio, I think it's appropriate to take a laptop in and hook up into their screen if they'll let you do that, so that you can demonstrate what you're all about. I just wouldn't take a laptop into a routine interview and crack it open. It's kind of, it puts a barrier between you and the person for a start, right? There's a physical barrier there. The iPad, I'm not sure about because I've not experienced that. That's probably more palatable in my mind because you are using it as a writing tool and they can see you using a stylus to write. Whether you can read it after the interview will be a different thing. But, frankly, I think it shows interest if the person's taking notes. It shows a commitment that they really want the job, or they want the job and they want to be able to know what the framework is that they're working in.
That and to build off that, in my mind, you're always going to have discovery with a new interview. And because of that, if you've had your star stories or your questions, in my mind, you'll want to expand upon that list. Say, oh, this was a really good question, and make sure you note that right then.
I think it's good, and I think if you get the job, I think it's a great thing to have that kind of looking forward view to what you're going to walk into. I think you can build, if you ask the right questions, you can build a pretty good picture of what it looks like, so that when you get in there on your first day, you can make sure you're checking the boxes.
I think my comment just about the iPad is, you just got to make sure you don't have other screens open, that you're doing other things or anything else. For me, that would be a real turn off. I mean, I would really want to have, a blank tablet, a blank sheet of paper where you're just taking down notes. And even if it's one or two keywords that you remember out of the response, that's going to be good enough for you to prompt like, okay, that's when he asked this question, or this was the reply. I would think that you could be cheating potentially if you brought in a computer. I don't care if it's a tablet or a computer or anything else. But that's my perception. And I've interviewed other people when I had a team, and nobody had done that to me. But I would be suspicious of that person, especially if I had other candidates that I was interviewing.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I think it's really important too, if you're going in for an in-person interview, especially, got her 15 questions ready to go, is that, if you do take a portfolio, the right side can be just open for notes, but on the left side, you should have those questions written down. I can't tell you how many times people have come to the practice interview team and they just you can tell they're just making up questions out of their head because we ask them for questions. If you come with questions written down.
These are all my questions. I have them written down.
I think, well, it also shows them you're organized, right? And you're prepared.
Yes.
If you're going with a blank sheet of paper, the picture that paints is not a pretty picture.
Right.
And they are prioritized with the most important things you need to know to get to work there.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the point about don't ask them what keeps them awake at night is a good point too, because it's worn out, it's past its day. But if you steer the conversation, they're going to in the right direction, and you've got a handle on the interview, you should be able to get the information you need around that one without really asking the question.
I agree with that. I think the one question that I always ask, and I get the reply from the HR person, is, do you have an internal candidate that you are considering for this role? Because then you know who you're up against. So that's one of my questions that I ask.
I'm going to plagiarize that one, just so you know.
No
Private-
worries.
You know, but question I always make sure that you've got to ask at the beginning of every interview, no matter how many people you're interviewing with this. So tell me, what's the most important thing you need me to do to be successful over the next 6 months? What's their most important thing? Because what's in the job description may not be what's the most important thing. It's just maybe they pulled a job description out of a book off of a shelf because it fits the pay scale of what they're looking for. So I think you always need to ask that question at the beginning of an interview. Somehow you've got to work that in after tell me about yourself. You know, can I ask you a question? What's the most important thing you need me to succeed? What are the 3 or 4 things you need me to be successful at over the next 6 months?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think another one that I like to ask is a lot of people say, oh, what do you like about the company? I do the inverse. I said, if there's one thing that you could change about the culture, what would it be? So then you're getting a different response because everyone's going to say, oh, I love the culture, the people I work with, whatever, right? And you can read about some of that on their website, right? It tells you a bit about the culture and the people. I'm like, what would you want to change? And then I get a different response, right? So from this last one, they were talking a bit about how the company is a bit of an octopus, that they wish communication were better. So then I know that that's something that I would need to work on when I'm there, making sure communication's crystal clear. So for me, those are just talking points to set me up for the next interview.
Good.
Anybody else? Up right here.
So I'm thinking about taking a bridge job until I get a Mr. Right Now job, until I get Mr. Right. Put it on my resume? Not. I'm talking, I want to go work at HEB and be the wine steward, or, you know, someplace to do something.
Yeah.
I'm searching. Do you put it on the resume or not?
I would. You're showing that you're working and doing something else. I put volunteer work on my LinkedIn profile as well. I mean, it's showing that you're doing activity and you're not just sitting there waiting for a job.
What about if you're studying on your to bring yourself up to date with things like AI? At the moment, my resume has my last job, but now I've been out of that job for 3 months as of yesterday. Should that information go as a kind of a job that you're doing now, or should that go at the bottom of the resume?
I mean, I have for a role right now, like seeking new job opportunity or whatever is my current role. If you look at my profile, but and then under the volunteer section, I show what I'm doing as far as volunteer. But you'll want to have something current so that, you know, that helps the algorithms and for LinkedIn and for recruiters and others to find you. So,
Okay.
yeah. And by now, if you've ended the other job, you know, they'll be like, why is he saying he's still at this company? He's not, or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I've been pretty careful with the dates, so the dates match when I left. But yeah, it's a good point. I never thought of it from that perspective.
yeah.
Now, hold on. Read Mike over here. Chandler is shaking his head no. So hold on. Let's get Chandler's opinion here.
I have an opinion about everything.
Okay. Well, good.
Everything. That's my superpower.
That's
I do
why
have an
we-
opinion on
we
everything.
Be a good offensive coordinator for the Cowboys.
My opinion is not to put that on. And here's my rationale. Number one, people scan, not read. One of the first places they will absolutely 100% go is your last job. And you've burned a certain amount of their attention on something that doesn't serve you in the role you're trying to get. How much more they scan below that, they might go, what? And they might keep reading, or they might not. But they will go to the first place you've been. So I would not use that extremely important real estate on something that doesn't serve you in acquiring the next thing. Demonstrate a skill, some experience, some accomplishment, some whatever, because I'm assuming that the role that actually I know you, so I can say this. The role you are seeking working at HEB. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it doesn't serve you to get that next role. So I personally would not. Nothing wrong with having education experience and things like that. Again, I'm not sure I put it right in the first thing, and that would be on there, but that helps serve you. But again, that's one of the few places they will scan, they will look. And I want to, I'm trying to put my best foot forward in that spot, whatever that looks like. One man's opinion.
Anybody else opinion out there?
Another.
Yeah, Chef, I'd raise my hand too.
You will never see 5 wide receivers on the field. You're on the 1 yard line. You don't need 5 wide receivers. Run the damn ball. Okay, that's another opinion. Anyway.
Chef, okay.
Yes, Lily, go ahead.
Thank you. Someone's suggestion, and this is kind of a career coach outside. You can work it into your resume instead of just saying professional experience. You say professional experience and professional development activities. It may be easier for me because I'm in IT and there's so much going on. But that way, you get it on there. So the first item itself, like some of them will be ongoing, some will be, for a particular time frame. It has served me well, I can tell you, ever since I did this. And even in between, where I was a 6-month training between jobs, I'm able to list that. So when I combine it, so they don't see those gaps. And this way, I'm not making things up. It's still related to what I'm trying to do.
I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to pop Patty's LinkedIn profile up. I hope you don't mind, Patty. If you
Go ahead.
All right, so here's Patty's profile. Come down to her current job, senior account director, customer success director / manager. I would put a space between these two characters here because
Okay.
you would have to put that into the search. A director is not going to pop up, just title wise. You've got to leave a space for the search to work right. But she's putting in her seeking new opportunity full-time. So you put that in the company name, I think, in that seeking new opportunity career position.
I think so, yeah.
And then just says she's in the Phoenix area. So by doing this, by putting this in the company title, look here at the top of her profile, it pops up here as, sorry about this. Looking too many times here. By putting this up here, it shows right up here that she's currently seeking a new job. Let me look at, here's somebody else who I know I show his profile all the time. Kim Jones. So here's Kim's. He's got his as a B2B product marketing manager and his phone number and his email address. He put that in the company field, so it pops up there. And then his current job is, he's put a little bit more information on here that he's looking for, what he's looking for by putting this information on here that, he's freelance, but that would tell people that he's currently looking. And then he's put a little bit of a description about as far as what he's doing. So that's something you can do for a current job. Highly recommend doing something. And look, he even put in his banner, phone number, email address, making it easy so that if you're trying to find somebody, Patty's got her information in the about section. And then if you haven't seen this little feature, little speaker thing.
Kim Jones, an accomplished B2B marketing leader in cloud communications technologies.
So you have there's a 10-second audio clip that you can add. You have to do it using your mobile phone. It was designed to put, if you have a hard to pronounce name, you can put how to pronounce your name correctly. Kim's used it Kim Jones, pretty easy way to pronounce. Can't mess up that name very easily. So he's used it in a little bit different way, which I think is a fascinating way to do something a little bit interesting here. All right, what else can we answer for somebody? What else? Questions? Questions in here? target oh, okay, here. Oh, be the runner now. What?
I'm working on my LinkedIn profile. I'm very new to this. I haven't interviewed for a job for 33 years. So is there someone that can review it with me and make sure I have everything filled out correctly?
I
And
would just ask different people. I would go through and have, when you're ready for people to look at it, send an email out to our group.
Okay.
.io, and just go, I would love for everybody to please take a look at my profile, put the link in there and offer suggestions.
okay,
The more recommendations you get from people, the better.
So, Anne, I would say, look at the file. And I always recommend Ruth Lipsky's presentation just from a tactical perspective. And look at her most recent one. It's fabulous. Hopefully you have two monitors, put her session on one, put your LinkedIn profile on the other so you can pause and then make adjustments. Secondly, go ask people who you've worked with, who know you, to see if it best demonstrates who you are. That's the other person. Yeah, because the people who work with you probably know you best. I mean, you'll get great feedback from all of us, and Jeff's got a great recommendation, but the people who work with you really know who you are, and they probably can give you language about you that you have never thought about. So don't forget to do that.
The other thing to do too is type in the job title you're looking for, call up there, look at these people's profiles and go, oh, I've done that. Oh, I can put that on my profile. Oh, I like the way those words that they used. I like the way they phrased that sentence. Yeah. Dennis O'Hagan used to, I quote Dennis all the time. He used to say plagiarism should be legal, especially with LinkedIn. Now you don't copy Brad Pitt's photo. You don't copy, yeah, you keep it your information. But if you find something that's worded correctly that you've done, get it in your profile to make it robust. A robust profile is all about keyword matching. It's about, putting the stuff that goes in there. So yes, Jama, that was an excellent comment. Get people who already know you, know what you've done, to take a look also. Any other comments out there?
Yeah, Terry Sullivan also has a pretty good presentation and a handout from buzzpro.com, which he runs to help you with things. His presentation is fire hose. You will have to pause frequently.
Well, he doesn't record it.
That's not recorded.
Oh, that's right. It's not recorded. But look at his handout.
I think it's called LinkedIntips.com. I think that's the website you can get to, the LinkedIntips.com.
He gives presentations here.
Right. It'll be the third week in February. Because actually it'll be the second week. Next week is Locke, and the week after that. So next Tuesday's Locke, the week after that will be Terry.
He also offers
Terry Sullivan.
He also offers to talk with you about your LinkedIn profile for free. And he's got a nice handout about it. So some other resources that you can look at.
that I was writing down.
Sorry, I don't remember. It's Terry Sullivan. It's a handout that he has. Go to buzzpro.com.
Right.
And it's generally available for download. And in there, if you download that, I think I don't know whether he offers it online or not, but I know that if you attend his presentations, he says, yeah, no, let me know. I'll talk to you and I'll talk to you about it.
He set aside a call with Monday.
Right. So he'll be glad to give you a 15-minute, when you get your profile about where you want, have him go take a look at it too. I mean, the more eyes, the better. Patty says also try to get as many recommendations as you can, add it to your LinkedIn profile. So people you've worked with in the past, you want to have 3. Try to get a minimum of 3, and you want 3 of them from 2022, 2023, 2024. You want them from the last couple of years, because I see LinkedIn profiles, and the last recommendation they had was from 2014. You might as well turn that off, because that's not going to mean anything. You've got to have ones that are in the last couple of years. And the reason you want 3 is I think that's now the number. LinkedIn keeps changing things. So it used to be you only got to see 2 recommendations would pop up as you scroll down somebody's profile. I think they've changed it to 3. So that's why you want to try to get 3. What I've done in the past from my like my past managers, I took what they wrote in my review and said, you know, hey, Tom, you wrote this in my review. Would you mind copying this and pasting this into a LinkedIn recommendation? And please feel free to add whatever else you'd like. And by doing that, you've made their life easy. If you want to make them have to think about what it is you've done, or, you know, it's just a lot harder on that person to go through and do it. But if you've already said, here's what, you know, here's what we've done, please modify it. And you can even do it with other people, not necessarily, you didn't do this in review, but, you know, I'm just looking for recommendations. We've worked together. Here are some areas I'd like you to concentrate on. I wrote a review once for somebody else. They pretty much took it, except they changed one line or something out of it. Wrote my own review.
I suggest a phone call with that person and talk about how they would talk about you, and that take notes, and then say, would you mind if I sent you a draft of a recommendation? Because you're taking their words
Right.
and putting it together, but go ahead and get it from them verbally as to what they'll say. And then you can ask questions while you're talking about, well, what would you say about this area or this area, that kind of thing. You can get all the information, then draft it nice, brief.
All right, what else can we answer for somebody? Questions, comments? All right, I know there were at least 3 people in here who had no target companies. 1, 2, 3. You need to have target companies, okay? And target companies are not, I'm looking for a job in Plano, or I'm looking for a job in Central Dallas, okay? You've got to list target companies. And the reason being is that, all right, so every Friday, I now only list people when I'm in the email, I'm only listing the target companies that people are looking for. So if you don't give me a target company, your name's not going to pop up. You'll be on the roster that you were here, but you're not going to show up in the little text with all the people's names at the bottom. You've got to come up with 2 or 3 target companies because, and I think 3 is the maximum, 2 is good, 3 is maximum. And they can change every week. I know Chandler's used to change more frequently. You've kept them pretty much the same the last couple of weeks, I know. But, you know, people would come in every week with a different set. It's what are you focusing on? And when you give me a company name, it's like, you know, when you tell me looking for a job in Plano, I just sort of blow that off. I don't think about, you know, how can I help somebody with that? But if you say, oh, I'm looking for a job at McKesson or Erickson or, you know, or something else, it's like, well, do I know somebody at one of those couple companies? It's really important when you're networking, when you're going to a presentation, any kind of networking opportunity like this, to have a target company. Monday morning, 9 a.m., go to the Career DFW website. You can get the link. The Fort Worth Career Search Network is going to have Mike and Pete talking about how to use reference solutions to come up with target companies. It's a great presentation. Watch it. I have it recorded it's on the Career DFW, it's on the Career USA YouTube channel, but because they've done it here, but they're going to be doing it live next Monday morning, 9 o'clock, Fort Worth Career Search Network. If you don't have target companies, you're not sure how to come up with target companies, this is a great way to do that. You just need a library card. That's all you need. As long as you have the local library card, you'll be able to access the database online. What else can we talk about, recommend, share? All right, hold on here. I'm going to just show you a couple more things, show a couple of things on the website here. Let's see here. Let me switch over. So here on the careerusa.org website, we talked about resources where you can get those handouts for information interviewing. So right here, so from the home page, resources, video and handouts. And then come down here to, let's see here, where did I put it at? Networking, right here. Informational interviewing handout. This is a great handout on how to go and do that. This document right above it, the prayer letter, this is from This is a great document to send out every 3 or 4 weeks to all your contacts. Hey, I'm looking for this. Can you help me? And how to do it. So it's another really great document to look at.
Jeff, if I can make a comment, that document is really good for people who are just having a hard time doing it. And this is how you can get started with it and things. And it gives you some scripts, gives you some ideas. And so those that fear it, have a problem with doing it, it's a great document for that.
So great document there. Let me group. I don't want that. Let's go to career DFW. So how to find the group. Oh, well, yeah. How to find that group on Monday. If you go to calendars, networking groups, and look right here, Monday morning, you click right here and the link will be right there's the link. You click right there and that'll take you to the meeting Monday morning, 9 o'clock. Unless you want to drive to Fort Worth. You want to drive to Fort Worth, you're welcome to do so. I know it takes me like 45 minutes to get there. So depending on traffic. So that's an easy way on how to get there. All right, what else can we answer for somebody? Anybody? Have we answered everything? Are we done? We're done for Friday? I guess we're done for Friday. All right. Oh, okay. Okay, no, ask away.
Headshots for your LinkedIn profile. How often do you update it, and is there guidelines on how to do it and that kind of thing?
There's a great presentation.
Oh, there is.
Hold on just one second. I actually had Terry Sullivan a couple days ago asked, he said, I've got a client who needs a headshot, and do you have a name of a photographer? And I had to go back and find through my notes, and I found it. But here, let me go back. Let's see here.
Does South Lake Focus Group, no, Frisco Connect, do they still offer the free headshots?
I haven't seen them there lately. I have not seen them there lately, but hold on, give me a second. Let me go share screen. And let's go here. So if you, yeah, you want it to look like it does now. So if you go to the career, if you go to the YouTube channel, go to YouTube, CARE, Career USA, which this link is in all the emails I ever put out. So just FYI. And this is a different Career USA. There we go. Here's the one you want right here with this little logo. So if you go here, click on playlist. Okay. YouTube.com, go to clear, or you can put at Career USA. You see right up here. So in the playlist, if you go to the North Dallas group, we don't want that. Oh, shoot. It went one too far here. Give me a second. I know. Let's see here. North Dallas group, where'd it go? If you click on view full playlist, okay, up will come a list of all the different things that we've had here in this group. And if you scroll down to, I think it was last September, yep, September 8th, 2023, headshots, how to make a good impression with your headshots. Who knew that somebody could talk an hour all about headshots? What makes it, I mean, I think everybody who saw it was like, I never thought there was so much to really think about a good headshot. I would maybe watch this video. You don't have to use the person who they recommend. I don't, quite frankly, I think you can take a fine picture nowadays. Your cell phone is quality enough to take a good picture. A plain background, but they'll talk about, lighting, I don't think you need to spend a couple $100 right now, but you do need your photo to be fairly current. That's just, I think, very important.
One suggestion, however you get it done, you'll want to be looking to your left so that when you look at your profile, you're looking into your LinkedIn profile and not looking outside and like to the right. So make sure you're
Yeah, a
facing.
lot of photographers, for some reason, they want to take your picture this way. Well, let's see which way. Yeah, so you're looking on the screen. So on a LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn profile's over on this side. You'd be looking away from it. You want to make sure you're looking into. It's just a matter of your shoulders, not a matter. Your head's still looking straight at the camera. It's just which way your shoulders turned. Good smile. Right. Yeah. All that. And she'll talk about all that in the video. So if you want to watch the video, it goes in a lot of detail all about that. Okay. Anything else? Oh, here we go. Walt.
So there was a career tip the other week about regarding candidates lying in job interviews. But what it fails to address is that it happens so much on the other side as well. Like, so, and with that, like, why is it that so many seem to just think that that so many like hiring managers, this poll from Resume Builder, that's where this actual. So if you think I'm making numbers like this up, I'm not. So just because nearly 40% of hiring managers say they lie during job interviews, and this was research done by Resume Builder. So why and on that topic, why do so many seem to think it's either very acceptable or somewhat acceptable? And that I just can't for the life of me understand that. And that's like,
I don't know. I mean, who can answer that? I mean, what makes people think about whatever it is they think about? It's I don't know if there's an answer. People just tend to tell little fibs, and
yeah, like to try to get someone to take the bait or anything like that. Like,
look at all the phone scammers that are out there. Look at all the they're just out there to see if they can take you. So who knows? A lot of people out there shouldn't be
it shouldn't be in positions of authority. Absolutely.
Right. Just mentioning the past tips of the week, I just wanted to show this. If you go to the careerusa.org website, tip of the week, if you come down here to see tips from past years, tips from 2024. So here's the one about doing informational interviews the right way. I know somebody asked about that. There's a great handout about that. All the past ones. So this is just from 2024. If you want to go back, let's see here. Nope. You were my favorite tips, but let's see here. Last year, go back to 2023. You can scroll back down and find whatever tip it is you're interested in. Oh my gosh, 20,000 people saw this one. Okay, well, that was big.
That one was a big hit, absolutely.
Yeah, big hit. Thanksgiving wish. What do you give thanks for? Okay. Let me just share a few more screens. We'll get out of here. Next week, our speaker is going to be Patty. She's going to talk all about Crystal Knows. It'll be a great presentation. Come join us for that next week. If you've not put your 30-second introductions in the chat window, I don't know you with us, please do so. Give us your name, email address. That way I can update the roster. You'll get a copy of the email that goes out this afternoon with the roster. Be sure to check the roster out because it's 3 pages. The first tab are the current members. The second tab are those people we've lost contact with. And the third tab are alumni. And this is an alumni list from this group that goes back to at least 2006 or 7. So there's almost 18 years of people who have landed jobs from this group that are on the list. So it's a great way to reach out to those people. They may not be working where they were working at, but at least they've all sat here in this room and they know what you're going through, and hopefully they will help you. If not, let me know and I'll take care of them. All right. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us. Next Tuesday, Locke Alderson will be with us for LinkedIn Tuesdays, 1 o'clock Central. How to use LinkedIn for job hunting strategies to get results. Next Wednesday, the practice interview team will be meeting live and in person. So for those of you in the DFW area, come join us. I think they had around 18, 19 people here this last, 20 people this last Wednesday. For those living outside the DFW area, I will send out a link on Wednesday morning of one of the 13-part workshop that you can watch. So you keep your every Wednesdays all about interviewing. Next Thursday, networking. Clayton Stockdale will be with us to talk about networking. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. We'd really love for you to please follow the YouTube channel. Dion says he follows the channel on YouTube. By doing that, every time I post a new video, you'll get a little alert saying that there's a new video out there. We'd love to break 1,000 because once you hit 1,000 people subscribing, I'm at 860 or something. Once you hit 1,000, you get some more things open up for you. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel. So just look for that little compass. That way you know you're on the right one, because apparently there's a new careerusa.co and a new careerusa. something else that I'm not buying all the names that are out there. I just have the .com and the .org. Click on playlist, because when you click on playlist, every video that I upload goes into one of 8 different playlists. And then at the very bottom, don't click on the video, click where it says view full playlist, and up will come a list of all the different dates and topics. And you can scroll down and find the topic that you'd like to go back and watch. Just remember, anything from the North Dallas group, our speakers usually start about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes into the video. Today, come join us at lunch. We're going to go to Mama's Pizza, 2130 West Parker Road. Pizza buffet, pasta, salad bar, hot cinnamon roll. If you're over 65, they give you like a 70-cent discount, something like that. Not a whole lot, but they give you a little bit of a discount. So come join us there today at 11:45. For everybody else, thank you. Have a great weekend. I know it's supposed to rain here in the DFW area tonight, but for everybody else, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.